Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Intermediate Japanese Quartet Lesson 2, Part 2 live stream. Today we're going to be covering okage expressions, XはXほどY, まるでNOUNのようだ, and ことになる. One thing I want to mention before we get started is that all new grammar points will be marked in light blue, and these colors will be marking words that don't show up in Quartet or didn't show up in Genki yet, but are on the JLPT, so they're going to have these colors based on their JLPT level. And one new thing today is the pink color is going to be for words that they're not on a JLPT, but they're either pretty common or just words that we like to use or think are important. One other thing to mention tonight is that if you have any questions that are just general questions about learning Japanese or general questions in general that you'd like answered, please make sure to mark your question with the question marker in chat so we don't miss that. For question time, specific question time, when you're giving your answers to the question we have tonight, please put Q time before that so we don't miss it. All right, but before we get started with okage expressions, you know that I always have to do this. 日本語喋れるようになりたいのか? Hold up. We already did this. We already talked about how you can use our Genki 1 and 2 and now Quartet course to improve your Japanese. じゃあこれは何のため? We're moving. また引っ越す? No, we're transitioning from Patreon to ToKiniAndy.com. なんで? Look. なるほど。新しいやつの方が綺麗だね。Exactly. It's easier to access, it looks better, it's easier to add new content to old lessons. I'm super excited for it.
私も出てるよ。これからよろしくお願いします。
Come join us on ToKiniAndy.com today and kickstart your Japanese learning experience. You'll have bonus grammar sentence videos, textbook practice videos, listening and shadowing videos, vocabulary videos, tests, and you'll be able to track your progress through fully structured lesson plans. Hope to see you there. よろしくね。Thank you to the 430-ish of you that have already moved over to the website. We appreciate that so much, and thank you to everyone who is either a Patreon or on the website, because we're over 750 people now, I think. So officially, Yuki and I can go full-time at the end of the year. So thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. So, as always, let's say hello to everyone who is here. Come to Japan Dan. Thanks for the call earlier when I messed up the intro. Hello, Spay, and Makui, and Pitovnikov, and Midha, and Gary, and I think that's everyone that's here at the moment. Right now in America, it's the 4th of July, and it's very early, and I have a feeling that a lot of people were probably partying last night. So I doubt very many people will be waking up early on that side of the world, but hopefully we'll have people from the rest of the world here tonight, so konbanwa su, says Michael. Good evening, Michael. How you doing? Good to see you. So today we've only got 4 sections to cover. They're not that bad. The first one is going to be okage expressions. It's quite useful. And one thing I want to mention before we get started is that the dialogues are going to be a little bit different this time. We're not going to be doing dialogues. It's not going to be a conversation. Instead, we're going to do a reading piece. So there's going to be a very long sort of, it's a journal entry, and it's going to be continuing through each section. And I'm going to be putting that in the entirety of that journal entry up on ToKiniAndy.com so that you can read it later if you'd like to. But we are going to break it down and go through that reading and see what everything means, just like we do with the dialogue. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. I'll probably run a poll at the end of the lesson to ask if you prefer that or the dialogues, and we'll see how we move forward. I might do a mix of both. Matthew Keehan, how's it going? Hello. All right. Time to study the Japango. Indeed it is. All right. All right. So let me just get some fluids before we jump into this. Hope everyone's having a good day. How was your week, guys? Lots of studying. I didn't do too much myself, studying-wise. Lots of other work. Trying to get that Satori Reader interview all ready to go. Lots to go on that. But hopefully within 2 weeks that will be out. Yuki's over there. So she doesn't come she's not on the regular lesson stream. She's in the practice stream. So that'll be next week for part 2. Yuki will be here for that. Japanese slangs and idioms 101. How's it going? Good to see you. お水のおかげ。Indeed, indeed. お水のおかげで、声はしゃがれてない。Yeah, she's in the practice stream. She's still helping out, but she's just over there as sort of a mod, hanging out in the background and helping to answer questions when we need her. All right, guys, you ready to go? Looks like we've got about 25 people here. Please hit the like button if you find these lessons helpful. It helps these get out to other people so that they can join us live if they'd like to join us. Genkilla, it's good to see ya. How's it going? Hope you're having a good afternoon, I think. I think it's afternoon in Europe. I'm not really sure. But anyway. All right, guys, let's do it. Let's jump into okage expressions. So, okage de is the de particle, but okage de means thanks to something. And you can use it with verbs, adjectives, non-adjectives, and nouns, basically anything. So for verbs, before okage de, the verb needs to be in a short conjugation. It can be just in the short form. It could be in the past tense, the negative, doesn't matter. But it's got to be a short form conjugation followed by okage de, and then something. We'll show you in the example sentence what might come after that. Adjectives are just on their own. So, for example, tanoshii okage de, something, something. Na adjectives need the na particle between them and okage de. And nouns need the no particle between the noun and okage de. So, you'll see in the example sentences how we kind of use those. Every single one. One other thing covered in this lesson is okage-sama de. Now, Quartet explains okage-sama de as sort of fortunately. It's sort of a set phrase or set expression that is used to just mean thankfully, or I'm, thankful for this situation that I'm in, or fortunately. But in practice, it's usually used to mean thanks to you, something, something. You'll see more in the example sentences what that is like. So let's go ahead and jump into the example sentences so you can see how it's used. So our first one, and actually our first two, are using verbs. So we have たくさん練習したおかげで発表は大成功しました. So thanks to practicing a lot, my presentation was a great success. So we have our first word with the pink color here. The pink color, if you remember, means that it's not on the JLPT, but it's a common word and one that is worth learning. So this is 大成功, which means a great success. 大成功. So you can see here before okage de, we have the past tense of suru. So 練習したおかげで. So thanks to practicing a lot. The たくさん is a lot, of course, and 発表は大成功しました. So anything can come after this, yeah? It can be any conjugation over here. It can be a verb. It can be a adjective, noun. Doesn't matter what comes after it, but it's thanks to whatever comes before okage de, I was able to do something else, right? So you could think of this as X okage de Y. Y being the thing I was able to do because of what comes before this. All right, our next sentence is 好き嫌いがないおかげで食べ物を無駄にしない. So thanks to not being picky, I don't waste food. Now, 好き嫌い is not necessarily in the dictionary translated as picky. It just means likes and dislikes. So if I were to translate this a little more literally, it would be like, thanks to not having likes and dislikes, I don't waste food. But muda means to waste, and tabemono, of course, is food. But I think in this situation, you can safely translate this as picky. So thanks to not being picky. 好き嫌いがないおかげで食べ物を無駄にしない. So thanks to not being picky, I don't waste food. Now, I usually wait till the end of the section, but it's very early in the section, so I don't know what chat's going to do to push that up. So thank you so much, Genkilla. Yes, Yuki, the answer is 2. All right, we'll have her read that later, though, after we get done with the lesson. But thank you so much, Genkilla. Appreciate that. All right, moving on to the next one. 今日は仕事が楽なおかげで早く帰れた. So here we have a na adjective, 楽, which means easy or relaxed, but usually just easy. And remember, after na adjectives, we need the na particle in between that and okage de. So we have 今日は仕事が楽. So today's work was easy or is easy. And thanks to that, okage de, 早く帰れた. I was able to go home early. Our next sentence is 家族のおかげで大学に入れました. So this is a very simple sentence, but it's using a noun. So we need the no particle between the noun and おかげで. 家族のおかげで大学に入れました. So thanks to my family, I was able to get into college. You can reverse that. I was able to get into college thanks to my family. However you prefer to translate it is fine. All right, so we've got a few other little expressions, or only one here before we get to おかげさまで. And the first one is チキンスープのおかげか元気になった. So おかげか is used when you're not sure if the thing that comes before that is the reason for the following result. So you're not sure if X is the reason for Y, but it could be the reason for it. So it's sort of the reason for Y, which Y is the second part of the sentence, is uncertain, but it could be because of X. Okay, so in this case, X is chicken soup. So チキンスープのおかげか元気になった. Perhaps thanks to the chicken soup, I got better. So it could be something else, but that's when this is used. おかげか. Okay? So here we have おかげさまで. This is a very common situation where おかげさまで might be used. We've got a doctor, 医者, and a patient, 患者. Okay, so the doctor says 薬が効いたみたいですね. It appears that the medicine is working. Response is just おかげさまで, which you could translate as fortunately or thankfully. But in this situation, you can think of it as thanks to you. Now, I put this as thankfully here because Quartet sort of listed as fortunately or thankfully, and it does sort of just mean that. Like maybe the doctor didn't even give me the medicine. Like maybe someone else gave me the medicine, and the doctor's just saying 薬が効いたみたいですね. But it would still make sense to say おかげさまで, thanks to you, or thankfully, right? So おかげさまで is a set phrase that means either thanks to you or thankfully or both, right? One more example with that, we've got ご近所さん, so neighbor, not necessarily neighbor as in the person next to your house, but someone from within the neighborhood, okay? So it's not literally the person that lives next to you, it's a neighbor as in someone within the neighborhood. So ご近所さん, neighbor. 最近どうですか? So how have things been recently? 私、み、おかげさまで. Fortunately, good. So this is a weird sort of response. Yuki made this and she said it sounded super, super natural. This is something you would definitely say. And it felt weird to me, but I left it because I believe her 100% on this. And I've heard this before as well. So it's weird. Like, how have things been recently? Yes, thanks to you. Or yes, thankfully would be the literal translation of this. But it's just a natural set phrase response to when someone asks you how you are. おかげさまで. Supernatural. There's no real way to literally translate this into English well, but just know that this is a good response when someone asks you something like 最近どうですか? おかげさまで. Yes, thanks to you. But literally it's like, I'm good. And thanks to you, right? Thanks to you, I'm good. Is what it sort of could be thought of as. All right, so here we are jumping into our new not dialogue. So usually we have the dialogue here and I read it slowly once and then fast. But instead, this week we're doing a journal entry. So we're going to read through this. I don't have the English translations, marked out. Instead, I'm going to break it down with you guys live after I read the whole thing. So I'll read it at a fairly medium pace once and then at full speed. And then we'll sort of break it down together. And if you want to read the whole thing, like all 4 sections on their own, and you're on ToKiniAndy.com, that will be up hopefully by tomorrow as a readable thing there. So, here we go. 今日はゆきちゃんがドブドブラーメンというところに連れて行ってくれたおかげで、人生で一番おいしいラーメンを食べられた。店を最初に見たときは正直入りたくなかった。何十年間の汚れが積み重なっていて、看板がほぼ読めない状態だった。でも、ラーメン屋のボロボロなドアからかすかないい匂いがしてきたおかげで、外観も忘れて スッと入ってしまった。Alright, I'm gonna read it up. A little bit faster pace now. はい。今日はゆきちゃんがドブドブラーメンというところに連れて行ってくれたおかげで、人生で一番美味しいラーメンを食べられた。店を最初に見たときは正直入りたくなかった。何十年間の汚れが積み重なっていて、看板がほぼ読めない状態だった。でも、ラーメン屋のボロボロなドアからかすかないい匂いがしてきたおかげで、外観を忘れて、スッと入ってしまった。So let's go ahead and break that down a little bit. I want to mention that this is based on last week's dialogue and the week before that, and the week before that's a dialogue. So at the end of last week's dialogue, Yuki and myself were about to go to a ramen shop called Dobu Dobu Ramens. That was how the last week ended, and this is sort of the story of what happened when we went there in journal form. So the first sentence is, thanks to. So here's our first sort of, our first grammar point. Thanks to, so おかげで, let's work backwards from there. So what is it thanks to? The Y, the thing that is thanks to, so the Y in the formula, X, おかげで, Y. The Y is 人生で一番美味しいラーメンを食べられた. I was able to eat the most delicious ramen in my life. 人生で一番美味しい means most delicious in my life. And why was that? So let's break this down. 今日はゆきちゃんがドブドブラーメンというところに連れて行ってくれた。So てくれる, if you guys remember, means that she did something for me. In this case, she brought me to the ramen place, like for me. It's like she was nice enough to bring me to the ramen place. ドブドブラーメンというところ, the place called ドブドブラーメンに連れて行く。連れて行く means to bring me somewhere. 連れて行ってくれた. So she did that. She was nice enough to do that for me, right? おかげで thanks to that, I had the best ramen in my life. Next sentence is 店を最初に見たときは正直入りたくなかった. So when I first saw the shop, 店を最初に見たときは, at the time when I first saw the shop, 正直. I should have highlighted this one. I'm not sure it showed up yet. 正直 means honestly. Honestly, 入りたくなかった. I didn't want to go in. 何十年間の汚れが積み重なっていて. So, decades worth. So, 何十年間 means decades or tens of years. So, decades of dirtiness, 汚れが積み重なっていて was piled up. 積み重なる means to be piled up. 積み重なる is to pile up. To pile up, yes. 積み重なっていて so it was piled up. 看板がほぼ読めない状態だった. The sign, 看板はほぼ mostly 読めない状態 unreadable. In the state of not being able to read. 読めない状態だった. でも, but, ラーメン屋のボロボロなドアから so ボロボロ means falling apart, just a wreck basically, and it's an adjective. So ラーメン屋のボロボロなドア, so the ramen shop's destroyed or falling apart door から from かすかないい匂いがしてきた. So a faint good smell, a good smell, it doesn't like waft in the air or something. You use suru to mean that it came out, right? してきた. It came out, the smell. 匂いがしてきた. おかげで. So thanks to that faint smell coming out of the wrecked ramen shop door, 外観も忘れて, I forgot the outside appearance. 外観 means outside appearance. スッと入ってしまった. And I slid right into the shop. スッと入ってしまった. So that's what that whole thing is broken down. Okay, question time, guys. The question for today is 自分の能力のおかげで成功したことは何ですか? One more time. 自分の能力のおかげで成功したことは 何ですか? I'll translate that after I show you the example. See if you can pick up what the meaning is from the examples. First example is 英語が話せたおかげで外国人向けの観光の仕事に就けました。I forgot to ask Yuki to change that verb. That's okay. 料理ができたおかげで一人暮らしは大変じゃありません。So the first sentence is thanks to being able to speak English, I was able to be assigned to work that was involved with, what's the word I'm looking for? Tourism aimed at foreign people. And the second sentence was, 料理ができたおかげで thanks to being able to cook my own food, 一人暮らしは大変じゃありません. Living alone is not difficult. So, the question one more time is, 自分の能力のおかげで成功したことは何ですか? Thanks to your own abilities, 能力。成功したことは何ですか? What is something that you were able to do or that you succeeded at? Okay, that's what that is. So let's go ahead and jump into the chat. And before we jump into the chat, let's have Yuki read Genkilla's donation. Thanks so much, Genkilla. It's very short, but Yuki has to say hi for every donation. So,
はい、みんな。ありがとうございます。アメリカ誕生日おめでとう。Yes, Yuki, they answered too. ありがとう、元気ないつも。Have a good day.
はい。
はい、ごめん。
ありがとうございます。あ、そうそう、つけるがね、絶対出てないって思って変えたい。つけるじゃなくて、他には使えるのがなんだろう。の仕事ができたとか、仕事ができました。So you can just think of, you could change this to 外国人向けの観光の仕事ができました。You could use できた instead of つけました。It's kind of a difficult verb. Anyway. Alright, let's see. Jahida, this is a great way to get a little extra reading practice, Andy, especially when it's in the form of a journal. Thanks. Don't know why I find journaling in Japanese difficult. I'm just fine in English. Yeah, it's a whole different animal, yeah? It's probably not as fun journaling in a second language as it is in your own language. It's not as like relieving, I guess you could say. Like journaling in English, you get it all off your chest, whereas when you're doing it in Japanese, just to get it off your chest takes a lot of work. So it's a little bit harder in a second language. But anyway, Andy さんとYuki さんのおかげで皆さんは間もなく日本語を話せるようになるよ。わー。素晴らしいセンテンスですね。Petovnikov sentence means, thanks to Andy and Yuki, everyone will become able to speak Japanese in a short while. Excellent sentence, Petovnikov, and thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I'm glad you like that, Jahida. I'm going to pop a poll up at the end well, maybe I'll just pop it up now. Do you like the journal format as opposed to dialogue? Yes, no, do both. Alternating weeks. Okay, there's a poll. I'll leave that up till the end. Yes, that's exactly it. The resulting effect is definitely not the same. Definitely not. It's worth it. It's good practice, but yeah, it's definitely not the same. The whole time I thought kanja was patient as an adjective. Ah, gotcha.
Me too.
あ、そう。
私も患者だって知ったときは衝撃だった。
Yuki also thought that kanja.
Kanja means patient でしょ？
我慢するってことって思ってた。Yuki が？
patient はアジェクティブだけだと思って最初それで習った単語帳で。
あ、そうなんだ。
そうだけど patient は。
あ、you thought there was only a noun ってことだったでしょ？Yuki は逆なことを思ってたってこと？でも漢字は adjective じゃないじゃん。noun だから、どうやってピタブルカブと同じ間違いができたの？
間違いっていうか、patient が患者も同じワードで noun も意味があるっていうことは後から気づいたの。
ああ。そっか。Yuki was also confused about that word, I guess, Pitavnikov. Naruhodo desu, says Michael. That basically means you hate it before you even try it, so it's a bit different, Michael. I guess I missed something. Question. About being picky in food. Kuwazugirai is also usable, right? Yes. Come to Japan I think you got it. It means to hate without eating. It's a literal translation, right? Kuwazu, so without eating. That's the zu from last week. Kirai, dislike. So without eating, dislike is what the literal meaning of that is, and it's also what the idiomatic expression means. But yeah, it's mostly used for like when kids don't want to eat something, or if I just look at something and it looks terrible, so I don't want to eat it. Without looking, dislike it. Andy さん、新しい髪型っすね。かっけー。ありがとうございます。Yes, I did cut my hair. I'm waiting 18 months for an outcome already. Damn. Is Japan open? No, it's not. It won't be for a while. To answer your question, what is 1 plus 1? なるほどね。Okay, we got that. How do you make questionnaires? It's just an option now on my live stream. I don't know, actually. 料理が全然できないおかげで包丁を鈍らした。It got the knife got dull because you're not able to cook. So you're not able to cook, so your knife became super dull. Gotcha. Nice sentence, Lee. I like it.
こういうのはサーカスティックだよね、ちょっと。
そうだね。Oh, yeah. So I bring this up in the bonus video. I didn't have a sentence for it in this lesson. It's in the bonus video that's going to be going live on ToKini.com later today or tomorrow, I guess. And it mentions that okage de can be used ironically. So in Quartet, it mentions that okage de is whatever comes after it is a positive thing that happened because of, say, X, okage de Y. So what Y is generally a positive occurrence, something good that happened because of X. But you can use it ironically like that to say something, you can use it ironically. That's all I'm trying to say, is you can have a negative as Y, like a bad thing can be as Y, but that's going to be like a sarcastic or ironic expression. So just keep that in mind. Amazon guy here, July 4th today, so no packages will be going out today. Tom Dragon Rock, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by, and I'm glad you have 4th of July off. It's good. Q time. 探偵的分析能力のおかげでわお探偵的分析能力のおかげで自分の問題を乗り越えて解けた。I just realized this sounds narcissistic AF, but LOL, no worries. It works. So thanks to my powers of deduction, basically, my deductive abilities, or my deductive reasoning abilities, I was able to solve my own problems, or to surmount my own problems, basically. Very good. Q time. 英語を話せたおかげで日本語を手軽に日本語を勉強できた。日本語を手軽に。You don't need the second, you don't need the second Japanese. I feel like it's probably a typo. 日本語を手軽に勉強できる。That's all you need. So you can just get rid of the second 日本語. I imagine that's a typo. So, all good. So thanks to being able to speak English, it's easy for me to study Japanese, is what Pitovnikov said. Q time from Levy. 一生懸命勉強したおかげで、奨学金を当たった。よかったね。おめでとうございます。So thanks to studying as hard as I could, I was able to get a scholarship, I guess. A scholarship. Keep in mind that 奨学金 can also mean student loan. So it can mean both. It can mean both a scholarship and a student loan. So it's a little bit confusing. But yeah, so you were able to win a scholarship, basically. Nice. スペイ。イタリア語が話せるおかげで、イタリアのお客さんに手伝える。Nice. Good job. So you just want to make sure you finish that verb off. So 話せる or 話せた if it's a past thing. But since you can speak Italian, 話せるおかげでイタリアのお客さんに手伝える. So I'm able to help Italian customers thanks to being able to speak Italian. 何?
お客さんをじゃないを
イタリアのお客さんを手伝えるか。はい。あ、そうだね。イタリアのお客さんを手伝える. I guess it's the O particle there. You want after お客さん. So 手伝える takes the O particle. Q time for old lady. いつも看板を見るおかげで漢字を少しずつ覚えられます。いいですね。すごい。From looking at signs. Nice. All right. Good job. All right. I think that's good on the question times. Our next section is going to be the more you. The more you do this, the more that happens. With XはXほどY. Let me get a few sips of this. It looks like the poll right now is sort of leaning towards yes, about half people like it, and do both. So alternating weeks do journal form or like a long writing form and dialogue. So sort of mix it up. That's probably going to be the direction we go unless we get a lot more no's or a lot more yeses. So both. Some weeks dialogue, some weeks the story format or the sakubun writing format. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. You guys ready? Let's move on to the more you with XはXほどY. This is a fun one. You can use it a lot and you can make some fun sentences with it. So I think you should definitely work on being able to use this one. So it means the more you X, the more Y. It can also mean the more you X, the less Y, or the less X, the more Y, or the less X, the less Y, depending on the tense of the verb that comes before X or that Y is. So we'll show you that in some sentences. You don't need to worry about that too much. It sounds very confusing when I just explain it like that. But first, let's look at how you make it. So first, you need a verb in the ba conditional form. So you conjugate it into the ba conditional. Then you take the same verb in its dictionary form, followed by hodo, and then something comes after it. And we'll show you that in the example sentences. For e adjectives, you take the kereba form, so the conditional form of e adjectives. So for example, tanoshii, you cut the e and add kereba, so tanoshikereba, and then have the adjective again, tanoshii hodo, tanoshikereba, tanoshii hodo. And then something comes after it. Whatever the more y is comes after that. For na-adjectives, we have deareba. Now, the next part is optional. You can have the na-adjective again, followed by dearu hodo, or you can just say deareba aru hodo. That's going to be more common, dropping the second na-adjective in de, because saying the na-adjective twice is very repetitive. For nouns, it's the same thing. So the noun deareba, noun dearu hodo, you can drop the second noun. Noun deareba aru hodo. Okay? And this just means the more X, the more Y, depending on the conjugation of the verb. But we'll get to that in a few minutes. The first ones are all positive, so it's gonna mean what that graph says. Okay, let's jump into let's jump into the example sentences. So, 年を取れば取るほど考え方が固くなる. The more you age, the more your thinking becomes ingrained or becomes hard, set in stone, however you want to translate that. But anyway, we have 年を取れば. So if you gain years, 年を取る means to age, to get older. 年を取れば, we need to have 取る again. 取るほど. So the more you age, basically, that's what that whole thing means. 考え方が固くなる. The more your thinking becomes ingrained. So we don't have anything here to... It's just a sentence that means 考え方が固くなる. Your thinking becomes ingrained. But because we have 取れば取るほど, it means the more your thinking becomes ingrained. Okay? Next sentence. 運動すればするほど体力がつく. So here we have a する verb, right? So we could say 運動すれば運動するほど体力がつく, but it's repetitive, so you can drop the noun portion of the suru verb and just have suru in the second part. So 運動すればするほど体力がつく. The more you exercise, the more physical strength you gain. That's an N1 verb. 体力 physical strength. そう。運動すればするほど体力がつく。体力がつく means to gain strength, basically. 大丈夫だよ。Next sentence. そのアイドルが人気であれば人気であるほどチケットが取れない。So here we have a negative in the Y portion of the sentence. チケットが取れない。You can't get a ticket. Now in this whole expression, this whole sentence, it means the harder it is to get a ticket or the less you can get a ticket. So you could translate this as the less you can get a ticket. And when is it that you can't get a ticket easier? It means そのアイドルが人気であれば人気であるほど The more popular the idol is. You could also cut the 人気で portion and just have そのアイドルが人気であればあるほどチケットが取れない And that's probably the more common way you would say this, at least in conversation. So the more popular the idol is, the harder it is to get a ticket. So that ない, right? It means the more, the less. If the second portion of the sentence is a negative, the more, the less. 今が幸せであればあるほどなくなるのが怖い. The more happy now is, the scarier it is to lose it, as in happiness. So this could be 幸せであれば幸せであるほど is what this would be if you didn't cut the 幸せで in the second portion. But this is more common, I'd say. So 今が幸せであればあるほどなくなるのが怖い. And what is, you could then say 幸せがなくなるのが怖い. But then you'd have 幸せ once again twice. It could be as much as 3 times if you didn't cut it from the first part. So 今が幸せであれば幸せであるほど幸せがなくなるのが怖い. That's just, it's too many 幸せ. So you can cut all that out and just have it once. 幸せであればあるほどなくなるのが怖い. The more happy now is, the scarier it is to lose it. Next, we have an E adjective. So we have 楽しい. Oh, by the way, 幸せ, by the way, is a noun. So I didn't mention that before. That's why we have である, であれば. So now we have an E adjective. 楽しければ楽しいほど. The more fun it is. 楽しければ楽しいほど早く時間が過ぎてしまいます。The faster time flies by. 時間が過ぎる means for time to go past. So 過ぎてしまう means to sort of go fly past and you don't really want it to. So 早く時間が過ぎてしまいます。Time flies past. These are both more and more. So because they're both ending in a positive. The next one is a negative. So 友達に会えなければ会えないほど寂しくなりますよね. The less you can meet your friends, the more lonely you become. Am I right? So whether or not it's less depends on the conjugation of X or Y. So X here, 友達に会えなければ会えないほど, that's X, right, is a negative. So it's the less you can meet your friends. The second part is a positive sentence. Not positive as in like a good thing, but positive as in not negative grammatically. So 寂しくなりますよね. You become more lonely. Okay, so that's a positive. If it was a negative, 寂しくならないよね, then it would be the less you meet your friends, the less lonely you become. Of course, that would probably not make sense. So yeah, it depends on the conjugation of the verb, the final verb here in each part, on whether it's the less or the more. Okay? All right, let's jump into the second journal portion. I'll read it one time slowly and then at normal speed, and we'll break it down together. All right. ドアに入ったら、そのいい匂いは嗅げば嗅ぐほど強くなって、よだれを出さないように気をつけなきゃいけなかった。そんなに美味しそうな匂いは初めて嗅いだ。そのしょっぱくて味噌と醤油の汁が混ざっているような匂い。もしその匂いのろうそくやお香があったらいくらでも払います。考えれば考えるほど お腹が空いてきて、急いで椅子に腰をかけた。Sorry, we missed the furigane here. This should be 嗅いだ。嗅ぐ。嗅ぐ is to smell something. So 嗅いだ。Oh no, I'm sorry. We already have it here. 嗅げば。Okay, it's the same verbs. That's fine. We didn't miss it. So ドアに入ったら when we went in the door, そのいい匂いは that smell 嗅げば嗅ぐほど the more I smelled it 強くなって the stronger it got 強くなって so that's our grammar point right there 嗅げば嗅ぐほど強くなった、the more I sniffed it the stronger it became and what is it? いい匂い good smell よだれを出さないように気をつけなきゃいけなかった。So that's last time's grammar point. 気をつけなきゃいけなかった。I had to be careful not to drool. よだれを出す means to drool. So よだれを出さないように。出さないように means in order not to drool. 気をつけなきゃいけなかった。I had to be careful. そんなに美味しそうな匂いは初めて嗅いだ。そんなに美味しそうな匂い。That good of a smell 初めて嗅いだ I smelled for the first time そのしょっぱくて that salty 味噌と醤油の汁味噌 and soy sauce soup が混ざっているような匂い mixed up smell so salty 味噌 and 醤油 soup が、mixed up smell is what the sentence means basically もしその匂いのろうそくやお香があったらいくらでも払います。So if that smell was, if there was a candle or incense of that smell, I would spend any amount. いくらでも払います。I would spend any amount. 考えれば考えるほど。The more I thought about it, 考えれば考えるほど。お腹が空いてきて、my stomach became, the more I got hungry, the more my stomach became empty. 急いで椅子に腰をかけた。I quickly sat down in my chair. So let's read that at full speed once. ドアに入ったら、そのいい匂いは嗅げば嗅ぐほど強くなって、よだれを出さないように気をつけなきゃいけなかった。そんなに美味しそうな匂いは初めて嗅いだ。そのしょっぱくて味噌と醤油の汁が混ざっているような匂い。もしその匂いのろうそくやお香があったらいくらでも払います。考えれば考えるほどお腹が空いてきて急いで椅子に腰をかけた。Question time. すればするほど楽しいことは何ですか？ One more time. すればするほど楽しいことは何ですか？ Let's read the examples and see if you can figure out what the question means from those. 歌を歌えば歌うほど上手になって楽しい。ジムを頑張れば頑張るほど体重が減って楽しい。欲しいものを買えば買うほど好きなものがたくさん集まって楽しい。So the first sentence was, the more you sing, the better you get, and it's fun. The second one is, the more you work hard at the gym, the more weight you lose, and it's fun. The third sentence was, the more you buy things you want, the more things that you like, the more, how would I say that? 好きなものがたくさん集まって、the more things that you like are gathered together, and it's fun. So the question is, すればするほど楽しいことは何ですか? So, what do you do that becomes more and more fun the more you do it? That's the question. All right. Explosion heads. Hey people, we all Nihongoing hard? So hard since coming to Japan. Good. My brain wants to explode now. Yodare, says Yuki. Kyushu Trails, bagatsu. Boom, boom. Simpi's in the house. Whoosh. I can't read what Come to Japan says. Simpy in the house. Long time no see. How's it going? Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. 頭脳の爆裂 Nice.
ちょっと難しすぎちゃうね。だけどさ
Is it difficult?
あれだよね、そのさ、The More のパートだけちゃんと聞いてれば OK っていう、そのグラマーポイント。
the main thing is just that you've got the ba conditional followed by the dictionary form ほど. That's all that really matters. So the more this, and then y, whatever comes after it doesn't really matter. It can be anything. So the more I do this, the more this happens. And that's it, really. I'm sorry to blow up your brains there. 日本語を勉強すればするほどドイツ語を忘れます。Perfect. So 強者だけが生き残る。強者だけが生き残る。I love it. Okay, so Pitovnikov said, the more I study Japanese, the more I forget German. Only the strong survive is what his second part of his sentence means. 僕も初めて勉強した時には超混乱したわ。久しぶり先輩 says Yuki. 久しぶり先輩 Yes. Yeah, I guess it was confusing the first time I did it. I can't remember. I was excited about this one when I first learned it. Really excited because it was the first sort of complicated but fun sounding one. Now, to be fair, I definitely use it, but it's like once or twice a week that I use this. And probably. And I often forget, because I don't use it that frequently, whether the ba conditional comes first or hodo comes first. So sometimes I'll say suru hodo sureba, so I mix it up backwards. I'll do that a lot. So sureba suru hodo sureba is I'll want to say. I'll usually catch myself. Like if I stop to think about it, I'm fine. Sureba suru hodo. But that's the only part I really ever mess up. The second part is just a sentence. Anything. The more I do this. So if you just look at this sentence, uta wo, just forget the uta o. Utaeba utao hodo. The more I sing. Let's look at the second part of the sentence. 上手になって I become good at it. 楽しい. You could get rid of the 楽しい and just have 上手になる become good at. That would just be, it's a simple sentence, right? 上手になる so become good at. So 歌えば歌うほど上手になる. The more you sing, the better you get at it. That's all it means. 頑張れば頑張るほど体重を減る. The harder you work, the more weight you lose. Second sentence, if we got it, knocked it down. 買えば買うほど好きなものがたくさん集まる. The more you buy, the more things you like are gathered together. Something like that. Good to see you, man. Q time. 数学を論理数学や論理学の問題を解けば解くほど楽しいです。Okay, so the more you solve math and logic problems, the more fun it is. That's what Michael's sentence means. 数学や論理学 logic and 数学 is math の問題 so problems を解けば解くほど toku means to solve a problem like in math 解けば解くほど so the more you solve math and logic problems 楽しいです the more fun it is. So the second part of the sentence could just be 楽しいです and that means the more fun it is because ばほど means the more this, the more and something, why がそれは私だけにとってです but that's only me, says Michael. こんばんは Avid means eager. How's it going? こんばんは彼女に会えば会うほど恋する Oh Yuki says cute. You could probably hear 日本語の歌を聞けば聞くほどso close わかりやすくなる so close わかりやすくなるわかりやすくなる so わかりやすい needs to be changed to the mas stem, right? So to attach 安い easy to do. You just have to make the mas stem plus 安い so わかりやすくなる very close but good sentence. So the more you listen to Japanese songs, the easier they are it becomes to understand them. Yuki says お菓子を買えば買うほど隠すのが難しくなって楽しい So the more snacks I buy, the more difficult it is to hide them And it's fun. All right. Nice one. Those are good answers. Difficult section, but you guys seem to have it. まあもちろん。But we got 3 good answers there. It's good. If anyone has any questions about this, please feel free to ask at any time. So if you're confused and you can sort of express where your confusion lies, more than happy to answer before moving on. Or if you figure out how to express your question and misunderstanding while I'm teaching the next section, please feel free to drop a question and just make sure you mark it with question, because I don't always get back through all of the chat. So make sure you mark it with question, then your question, and I will make sure to try and answer. Ryanoth, how's it going? Konnichiwa. Ooh, the color next to your name has changed. It's like a cool teal now. Nice. Ryanoth, good to see ya. Ryanoth has the green name and the cool aqua or teal logo. That's for members only on the ToKiniAndy.com channel. You can become a member. I think it's like $1 a month or something, maybe $2 a month. Some people in some countries can join for free. You just click that join button. And you get cool colors and cool stickers that are only usable by members. All right. So, it doesn't look like we have any other questions. Look at the awesome green. Yeah, yes, says come from Japan. Thank you. All right. So, it looks like we don't have any other questions, I'm thinking. So, I'm going to flip the slide over to similes. I feel like this one will be easier than the last section. 素敵ですね。素敵ですよ. Thanks for the sentence, Spakers. That's exactly how I wanted to use this grammar point. Nice. Good. Whoa, we've got a ToKini Senpuki space. Certus is our newest ToKini Andy member. ToKini Senpuki. Welcome to the group. Space got the green name and the green mark. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right. Thank you. All right, guys. So, you ready for this one? I like this section too. I think this section is extremely useful, even more useful than the last one, especially if you're interested in writing. But even if you're not interested in writing, if you're interested in making your speech a little bit more, flowery, nice sounding, you can use this one. It's similes with まるでNOUNのようだ. まるでNOUNのようだ. So what noun no yo means is like noun. So like noun. So it's a simile, right? It's comparing one thing to something else. So まるで means as if or like as well, and it's optional. You don't need to have it to get the meaning correct. But anyway, for nouns you can have まるでNOUNのようだ, which means it just literally means like the noun or as if it were the noun. まるでNOUNのような, another noun, means that this noun is like this noun. So it's comparing noun B to noun A. Then まるでNOUNのように, verb or adjective, means, for example, to do something like this noun or as fun as this noun. So just explaining like this isn't going to make any sense unless we give you some example sentences. So the very first sentence we have, it's the same sort of build in the same sentence, 3 different usages, all 3 of those usages, so we can show you what each of them sort of means a little bit more clearly. So the first sentence is このモンスターはとても可愛く. So we're using the short or the written te form here. So this monster is extremely cute. とても可愛く. まるで犬のようだ. This monster is super cute. As if it were a dog. まるで犬のようだ. And the まるで is optional. 犬のようだ. Although in this sort of written form, we're using the written te form here, it does sound better to have the まるで there to make it more complete. In conversation, you're probably going to drop it a lot. So, まるで犬のようだ, as if it were a dog. We've got the same beginning of the sentence. このモンスターはとても可愛く. This monster is super cute. まるで犬のような動物だ. It's an animal like a dog. このモンスターはとっても可愛く、まるで犬のように動く。So this monster is super cute. It moves like it's a dog. So depending on what comes after the no yo, we either need, so no yo da, this is des, it could be this as well if it were a polite sentence. So no yo des, as if it were a dog. No yo na dobutsu da, an animal like it's a dog. Inu no yo ni ugoku, it moves like it's a dog. Okay, so that's the different, depending on what comes after it, how it's going to change. You'll have na for na adjectives and nouns, I believe. And ni for verbs and adjectives, e adjectives. Yona dobutsu, I think it's actually just nouns. And then the adjectives will have the ni particle. And then no yo da, if you're just saying as if it were that noun. Okay, let's look at a few more examples. その赤ちゃんはまるで天使のように可愛い. So that baby is as cute as an angel. So you could also translate that as something, as an angel. So as cute, 可愛い, as an angel, or as fun as something, or as hungry as an, something. So you can use as something as an angel. So まるで天使のように可愛い, as cute as an angel. この家はまるで人が住んでいないようだ. So you can have a lot in between まるで and ようだ. That house looks like nobody is living in it. 人が住んでいない. Nobody is living there. ようだ. Like nobody is living there. So in other words, someone is living there, but it looks like nobody is living there. その家はまるで人が住んでいないようだ. It's like nobody's living there. Maybe nobody's living there, but we just are looking at it and it's like, it's almost as if nobody is living there, is what this sentence means. Once again, the まるで is optional. Okay, this has a lot of red in it, which means N2, but it's not actually a difficult sentence, and I'm surprised these are N2. They're not that... Well, yudachi is maybe... That makes sense as N2, I guess. So, 夏の夕立はまるで滝のように雨が降る. So, summer evening thunderstorms rain down like a waterfall. Summer evening thunderstorms, yudachi, very common thing here. We had thunderstorms in the States too, but not quite like this, or back where I was in New Jersey is what I'm trying to say. But yudachi is something like what happens in Florida in the summer. I don't know if you guys have been to Florida in the summer, but what'll happen is it'll be super sunny all day. And then in the evening around 4 or 5 o'clock, maybe 6, between 4 and maybe 7, there will be like a 10-minute sudden downpour of rain, thunder, lightning, and then it's sunny again. That's what a yudachi is, and it happens a lot in Japan as well. It'll be sunny all day long, and then suddenly at 6 o'clock, pours rain like a waterfall. まるで滝のように雨が降る, so it rains like a waterfall, and then it's gone. So this sentence, 夏の夕立は, so summer evening thunderstorms, まるで滝のように雨が降る. Rain falls like a waterfall. 悪魔のような笑い声. So this is just a short expression to describe a noun. And the noun is 笑い声, a laugh. Like a demon, a laugh like a demon. 悪魔のような笑い声. A demon-like laugh is another way you could translate this. 悪魔のような笑い声. All right, so we've got a few more examples in the journal section. So let's go ahead and go through that slowly once. I'll read it. I'll break it down and then I'll read it at full speed one more time. Okay. Wow, yes, that's actually a good point. Spade just mentioned in the chat. One more grammar point to confuse between dashi, mitai, so, yoni. So this one is very similar to mitai. So actually, I'm going to jump back up here really quick. So this could be in more casual conversation expressed as 夏の夕立は滝みたい. Taki mitai. So it's much shorter, right? And it's more casual. So 悪魔みたいな笑い声 would also work here. So 悪魔みたいな笑い声. And the difference is みたい is a little more casual. Yoda is slightly more formal, right? You can use it in formal conversation. It's also much more common in writing maybe, but So this sentence, if we were to use みたい, その赤ちゃんは天使みたい or 天使みたいに可愛い。天使みたいに可愛い? Yeah, 天使みたいに可愛い. Next one, 人が住んでいないみたい would work fine. So yeah, it's exactly the same as みたい. みたい is just a little more casual. So you don't need to confuse yourself between the two. Just know they're the same. Just mitai is a little bit more conversational. Hi. Yuki has something before we jump into this. Hi.
すいません。みたいが一番なんかカバーが広い気がする。なんていうの？カバーエッジが広いのがみたい。
Yuki says mitai covers more situations. Because it's not just, it appears to be similar to this thing. It can just be, it looks like, literally it looks like no one's living there, for example. Instead of using it as a simile, yeah, there's more situations you can use mitai. It's the safest one to use in any of these situations. But anyway, yoda can also be replaced by mitai. All right, let's jump into this. 外観に比べるとまるで違う世界のようににぎわっていた。6台のテーブルは満席だった。カウンターを見たら2席しか空いてなかったので、さっと座り込んだ。カウンターはコの字のタイプで、マスターがラーメンを一生懸命作っている様子が見えただけではなく、あと少しでできそうなラーメンも見えた。店がとってもにぎわっていたからうるさかったけど、俺のお腹から腹が減ったライオンのうなり声のような音がして全員に聞こえてしまったと思う。So let's break that down. 外観に比べると So に比べると is actually a much later grammar point. I believe it shows up later in the book, maybe the next book. But it just means compared to something. So compared to the outside. 外観 is an N1 word. 外観に比べると So compared to the outside. まるで違う世界のようににぎわっていた。So here we got the verb coming after that. So it was as lively as a different world. まるで違う世界のようににぎわっていた。6台のテーブルは満席だった。6 tables were full. カウンターを見たら、when I looked at the counter, 2席しか空いてなかったので、only 2 seats were open, so さっと座り込んだ。I sit down quickly, or we sat down quickly. カウンターはこの字のタイプで、so この字 a この字 counter means a counter that's shaped like the character ko. See, ko is shaped like this, so it's a counter on 3 sides, and in the middle is the kitchen, or yeah, where they're cooking at the restaurant. So that's actually, it's very common, so it's called この字。この字のカウンター。この字のカウンター, right? Because it looks like the character, the katakana character, ko. So that's the type of counter it was. カウンターはこの字のタイプで、the counter was a この字 type. And マスターがラーメンを一生懸命作っている様子が見えただけではなく、so だけではなく is in the beginner dictionary, but I don't think that one shows up for a while in Quartet, but it means not only this, but also that. Don't worry about learning that right now. I needed it for the sentence. So, マスターがラーメンを一生懸命作っている様子。様子 means, I believe, it's one of my favorite words. 様子, how can I translate that in English? Appearance, the way it looked, or his state of being. So the state of Masta, so the owner of the shop, the state of him making ramen as hard as he could. So ラーメンも一生懸命作っている making ramen as hard as he could. 様子, so that state of affairs. 様子が見えた was able to see it. だけではなく not only that, but あと少しでできそうなラーメンも見えた. I was able to see ramen. You are able to see, or ramen was visible, so that's 見えた. Ramen was visible that was about to be finished being made. あと少しでできそう. Almost finished being made. あと少しでできそうなラーメンも見えた. So after just a short while, would be finished ramen was visible. So working in that direction. 店がとってもにぎわっていったから、The shop was extremely lively. So, うるさかったけど、It was noisy, but 俺のお腹から腹が減ったライオンのうなり声のような音がした。So, from my stomach, 俺のお腹から腹が減ったライオン。So, a hungry lion. 腹が減った is a very slangy or casual way to say hungry. So, a hungry lion's growl のうなり声。腹が減ったライオンのうなり声。So, a hungry lion's growl のような音がした。So, a sound like a hungry lion's growl. する means to do that. So, 音がした。して。全員に聞こえてしまったと思う。I think everyone heard it.Alright, let's read that at full speed. 外観に比べるとまるで違う世界のように賑わっていた。6台のテーブルは満席だった。カウンターを見たら2席しか空いてなかったので、さっと座り込んだ。カウンターはこの字のタイプで、マスターがラーメンを一生懸命作っている様子が見えただけではなく、あと少しでできそうなラーメンも見えた。店がとってもにぎわっていたからうるさかったけど、俺のお腹から腹が減ったライオンのうなり声のような音がして全員に聞こえてしまったと思う。Question time. あなたの周りにある食べ物で or just もので本物のような偽物は何ですか? So I'm going to translate this one because this is a very difficult question, I feel like, but it's fun, so we kept it. So, あなたの周りにある. So, something that is in your vicinity, around you. A thing or food that is fake, but like the real thing. So, 本物のような偽物. 偽物 means fake or like a replica or something like that. So, 本物のような偽物. So, a fake thing that is like the real thing は何ですか? So, examples of that, very short. Something like, まるで果物のように甘いトマト. So, a tomato that is sweet like fruit. Or, ステーキのようなこんにゃく. I don't know if you guys know what こんにゃく is, but let's get a picture up just in case you don't know. こんにゃく. This is こんにゃく. This is こんにゃく. Just in case you were wondering. So, ステーキのようなこんにゃく. So, こんにゃく like steak. Okay? で、本物のようにジューシーな大豆ミートのハンバーガー. So, a tofu burger that is juicy like the real thing. 本物のようにジューシーな大豆ミートのハンバーガー. So you can make a super simple sentence, but something around you, just describe it basically. So describe something around you and compare it to what it's like is what we really want you to do here. But if you want to do food like a steak, a konnyaku that is like steak or something like that, go for it. All right. Hopefully that works out. I thought this was similar to mitai. This is going to be a fun grammar point to try and use in a journal perhaps. It's good. I really like this point. It gives you a lot more creative ability with Japanese than you might have had before because mitai also works, but this one sounds a little bit more poetic to me. So if you're writing, this one's going to be quite nice to have. Fun. そうですよ, Michael. That's exactly it. Fun. You got it. Nice dajare, says Kyushu Trails. Thank you. Thank you again, Spay. Appreciate that. 同じ国に住んでいるのようにのように夕立を解き明かしました。説明しましたね。いや説明しました。Of course 説明しました。Sorry. 同じ国に住んでいるのように He wrote のように. I think he's trying to use のように. I'm just reading it. I'm not correcting it yet. 同じ国に住んでるのように夕立を説明しました. So you explained evening thunderstorms as if you're living in the, or an evening shower as if you're living in the same country. だからのようにだと思うよ。
マジ？
同じ国に住んでいるのに夕立を説明しました。で、俺は彼と同じ国に住んでいるのように説明しましたってことじゃない？わかる？彼の夕立を見たことないのに、その国に住んでいるように、フィリピンに住んでいるように夕立を説明しましたって言ってたってことですよ。違うの？
わかんない。でもフィリピンにも夕立あるんだよね
ってことです。
聞いたら、
ある
って。
だからフィリピンにしかないって思ってて、フィリピンに住んでるように説明したんだ。そこにもあるんだってことですよ。Yuki's very confused by your sentence, Michael, but I get it. It makes sense to me. I think it's fine. いいよいいよ。フィリピンも夕立あるんだよね。And then speak of the devil, lol, the timing of that reading sample. こんにちは。Nights 1980, how's it going? お腹の音が周囲に聞こえるのは死ぬほど恥ずかしい。Really? Michael's sentence is very good. It says, when the sound of my stomach is audible in my surroundings, I'm embarrassed enough to die. 死ぬほど恥ずかしい. Embarrassed enough to die. そうですね。先週くらいから突然17、16時から雨が降り出すことがほぼ毎日ありました。そうだね。Just saying I love tofu burgers. I do too. I used to really eat a lot of them in college because my family, I grew up vegetarian. Well, I didn't. I pretended to be vegetarian until I was, well, no, I was vegetarian from 6 to 8, and then I pretended I was vegetarian from 8 until I went to college. But I still ate the fake burgers because they were good. Vegetarian here, love a good fake burger. Nice. Masayama, message retracted. This is a small tip for Andy and Yuki. It doesn't relate this lesson though. You can change mouse cursor size and color. It will make us to be easier to see where Andy is pointing. Please. Yeah. I can actually do that in, where is it? There we go. Within Google Slides as well. So like this. I always forget to turn it on though. Sorry. But thank you so much. Yes, it's definitely much easier to follow this nice red guy right here. Appreciate that. I always forget. まるで小さいギターのようなウクレレがあります。Nice, nice. ウクレレね。So I have a ukulele just like a small guitar. Nice. 人生はつづら折りくじゅく折りつづら折りでも出てくる。つづら折りグルードサッククルドサックかクルドサックのようになるほどね Okay, so I see You know what might be helpful here is you can actually say zigzag jigだっけジグジャグだっけジグジャザグジグザグ You can say ジグザグジグザグのようのコルドサックのように一生懸命で最後まで何ももたらさない。Yuki's asking like 500 times to my right, what's a cul-de-sac? A cul-de-sac is a road that ends in like just houses. There's nothing there, I believe. cul-de-sac. Sorry, guys. I have to show Yuki what a cul-de-sac is quick. これです。これ。これが cul-de-sac っていう。だからジグザグして最後には何もないっていうことです。はい。So anyway, so ジグザグのコルドサックのように一生懸命でやっても最後についたら何もないかな。
なるほど、意味わかったわ。
はい。So let's write that out for you.
悲しい。
Yes.
悲しいこと。
人生はジグザグ
そんなこと言わないでよ。
のクルドサックのYeah, it came up. It popped out. クルドサックのように一生懸命やっても最後に何もない is what you want. There's your sentence. So no matter how hard I do anything, basically, when it comes down to it, life is like a zigzagging cul-de-sac with nothing at the end. Woo! That's a heavy, philosophical, sad sentence. It's a dead-end road. Indeed it is. Dead-end, yeah. Dead-end road, basically. What's cul-de-sac in Japanese? There aren't really... Cul-de-sacs aren't really a thing. Cul-de-sac is very... I don't know if there's many in Europe, but it's a big thing in America. I know. But anyway, yeah. Kurudosaku is correct. It's just not really... It's not a common word in Japanese like it is in English. I'm not sure that developments... So like, housing developments in the States. I don't know much about Europe as far as housing goes. We have them in Australia. Okay. So maybe in Australia as well. But the people make housing developments, right? So a company buys a huge plot of land and builds like 50 houses. And cul-de-sacs are often a sort of a thing from that. So they end with like 3 houses in a circle drive. That developments aren't really a thing in Japan as they are in the West. So cul-de-sac isn't really a common word. Yeah, no, I've never seen a cul-de-sac. I mean, I've seen dead-end roads that end dead-end roads with a house at the end, but it doesn't have that like circle, right? It's literally a straight road and then it ends and there's one house or something, you know what I mean? So it's not quite like I don't know if we could call it a cul-de-sac. Perhaps ikitemo is better than yattemo. Yeah, that would work too. Probably a little bit better. I agree. 一生懸命生きても最後に何もない。そうだね。一生懸命生きても最後に何もない。そうだね。You need the circle so you can drive out of it. Exactly. Yuki's having a breakdown over there over your sentence, Liv. Lee. All right. So, unless we have any more question times for this one, perhaps it was a little bit confusing. I just wanted you to make a comparison with something around you, basically. Yeah. But anyway, the next section is koto ni naru, which is decisions and plans. So, let's jump into it. So first we have koto ni naru, which means it has been decided that. Generally, not by the speaker, or if it was a thing decided by the speaker, it was along with someone else. So the speaker and another person made a decision together, or a number of people made a decision together, and that's when we're using koto ni natta. It may be a decision that was made by someone. It most likely was a decision made by other people than the speaker. So to make this, you use a verb in its dictionary form or its negative conjugation. So dictionary form or negative conjugation. And it's usually in the past tense. So koto ni natta. So it was decided that, or it has been decided that, verb. Okay? And the next thing we'll be covering after that is koto ni natteiru. So the teiru, present continuous of koto ni natta. So koto ni natteiru. And Quartet explains this as it's expected that. But it basically expresses a rule, a plan, or a habit, like a habit, or something that is done regularly. So a custom, maybe. So those are the three types of things: customs and habits, plans, or what was the last one I said? Customs, plans, or rules. Those are the three things generally that ことになっている will be talking about. So let's look at the example sentences to show you what I mean. So the first one is using ことになった, and that is 今週末はバーベキューをすることになった. It was decided that there would be a barbecue this weekend. So barbecue, by the way, it's written in katakana usually as barbecue, but even in Japanese, it's often shortened to just BBQ. So that's okay. This weekend, it was decided that there will be a barbecue. So the speaker here, say it was me. If I said, I'm talking to a friend, 今週末はバーベキューをすることになった. That could express that I didn't decide necessarily. Perhaps Yuki decided, or perhaps we decided together. That's what's being expressed here. If only I decided, just me, I made the decision that we're having a barbecue, then I would make it ことにする. So just me alone decided that there's going to be a barbecue this weekend. Then the sentence would be 今週末はバーベキューをすることにしました or したね. So just me. But this is expressing that someone else made the decision, or I made a decision together with someone else. Next sentence. 熱が下がったので病院に行かないことになった. My fever subsided, so it was decided that I wouldn't go to the hospital. So maybe my mom was going to take me to the hospital or something, right? Your fever's so bad, we got to take you to the hospital. And then my fever went down. So then she decided we're not going to the hospital. Yeah. I don't need to express who made the decision. That's not what's important here. What I'm expressing here is that it was decided I'm not going to the hospital. That's what's being expressed here. It's not important who made the decision. What's important is the decision. The decision is that I'm not going to the hospital. You could just say ね、熱が下がったので病院に行かない. It's a very final sentence, right? You don't need the ことになった necessarily. That would mean my fever subsided, so I'm not going to the hospital. But this is expressing that it wasn't necessarily in my control. Someone else made the decision. 冷蔵庫が壊れたので新しいのを買うことになりました. The refrigerator broke, so it was decided that we will buy a new one. Now, this is another situation you could use it in because you didn't have control over the refrigerator breaking. The refrigerator broke, so you have to buy a new one, right? So you decided maybe with someone else, 新しいのを買うことになりました. So maybe if I was telling someone about how our refrigerator broke and we decided to get a new one, then you can use ことになりました. If you and other people decided, you can use this. And one more thing to keep pointing out, let me just pop back up here. We've got the negative, so ない or する, so the dictionary form. Here again is the dictionary form. 新しいのを買うことになりました. Dictionary form. 長野市のバスは降りるとき料金を払うことになっています. So here we have なっていることになっている. So this is expressing either, remember, a rule, a custom, or a plan. So let's take a look at this and figure out which one it is. We have 長野市のバス. So the bus is in 長野. は降りるときに料金を払うことになっています. So when you get off the bus, you pay the fare. We can sort of deduct from this that it's a rule, not a plan. So it is a rule that one pays the fare when one gets off the bus on Nagano buses. And generally on most buses in Nagano, yeah, you pay when you get off. Not all of them, but most of them, that's what my experience has been. 毎週土曜日にバンド練習に行くことになっている. So this is personally me. Every week on Saturday, バンド練習に行く. I go to band practice. ことになっている. It is a custom or a habit that I go to band practice every week on Saturday. It's a custom. 今週は夕ご飯を食べないことになっていた. It became a plan to not eat dinner this week. So we can tell this is a plan because it's 今週, this week. は 夕ご飯を食べないことになった。So that's another way you can tell, right? We have Nagano-shi no bus, so that's a very general thing, right? Buses in Nagano, 降りるとき, when you get off. You can sort of figure out just from that. Buses in Nagano, when you get off. It's a rule. 毎週土曜日, every week on Saturday. From here you can tell it's going to be a custom, right? It happens every week on Saturday. And here, 今週, you can figure out it's a one point in time. It's probably a plan. 今週は夕ご飯を食べないことになっていた. It became a plan to not eat dinner this week. All right, let's jump into the journal portion. I'll read it slowly once. We'll break it down. And then I'll read it full speed and we'll get to question time. Here we go. メニューは4つしかなかった。醤油ラーメン、味噌ラーメン、餃子、ビール。ユキは醤油ラーメンと生ビールにした。俺は味噌が大好きなので、味噌ラーメンと餃子とビールにした。信じられないことに、味は匂いより2倍くらい美味しかった。味噌の味が濃くてしょっぱすぎなかった。餃子も美味しかったけど、そのラーメンは毎日食べれば食べるほどもっと食べたくなる味だと思った。これを書くだけでその味を思い出してよだれが出てしまう。とりあえず来週また行くことになった。その次の週も行こうかな。Alright, let's break it down. メニューは4つしかなかった。So this means there was only 4 things on the menu. So you could make the mistake of thinking that this means that there were 4 menus. But that would probably be メニューは4枚しかなかった. So there was only 4 4枚 using the counter しかなかった. But メニューは4つしかなかった means that there were 4 items on the menu. Menu can be referring to the items on it. So メニューは4つしかなかった. There were only 4 things on the menu. This is the list. 醤油ラーメン、soy sauce ramen, miso ramen,餃子. If you don't know what 餃子 is, let me know in the chat. ビール beer. ユキは醤油ラーメンと生ビールにした。する can mean to decide on something or to choose something, right? So she decided on, or she chose, soy sauce ramen and draft beer. 生ビール is draft beer. 俺は味噌が大好きなので、I love miso, so 味噌ラーメンと餃子とビールにした。I decided on miso ramen, 餃子 and beer. 信じられないことに、信じられない means unable to believe ことに、bug flying around here 信じられないことに、味は匂いより2倍くらい美味しかった。So the flavor was 2 times more delicious than the smell. 匂いより. So you could, this is ほどより, right? So 方がより. So 味の方が匂いより2倍くらい美味しかった would be the full thing, but often the 方が is dropped. You may remember that from when we covered it in Genki. So 味は匂いより2倍くらい美味しかった。味噌の味が濃くて so the miso flavor was very strong or thick. しょっぱすぎなかった. It wasn't too salty, right? 餃子も美味しかったけど the 餃子 was also delicious, but そのラーメンは毎日 that ramen every day 食べれば食べるほど the more I eat it もっと食べたくなる the more I'll want to eat it. So the more I eat it, the more I'll want to eat it. 食べたくなる味だと思った that's the kind of flavor it was. So the flavor was so that the more I ate it, the more I wanted to eat it is what I thought と思った。これを書くだけで just by writing this その味を思い出して I remember that flavor and よだれが出てしまう I drool とりあえず for starters 来週 next week また行くことになった It was decided that we would go next week for starters その次の週も行こうかな。Maybe I'll go next week as well. Or the following week as well. Alright, full speed. メニューは4つしかなかった。醤油ラーメン、味噌ラーメン、餃子、ビール。ユキは醤油ラーメンと生ビールにした。俺は味噌が大好きなので、味噌ラーメンと餃子とビールにした。信じられないことに、味は匂いより2倍くらい美味しかった。味噌の味が濃くて、しょっぱすぎなかった。餃子も美味しかったけど、そのラーメンは毎日食べれば食べるほど、もっと食べたくなる味だと思った。これを書くだけで、その味を思い出してよだれが出てしまう。とりあえず、来週また行くことになった。その次の週も行こうかな。Question time. あなたの家族のルールは何ですか？ What are your family rules or your house rules if you don't live with your family? トイレットペーパーがなくなったら if your toilet paper runs out 新しいのをつけることになっている。It is a custom for you to put a new roll on. 料理を作ってない人が people who didn't cook 食べた後に after eating お皿を洗うことになっている。Do the dishes, basically. So you can make this much more simple. These are just some examples of what some rules might be. So these are the rules in our house. Okay? So the rules in our house are that when the toilet paper runs out, you put a new one. And whoever cooks doesn't do the dishes. Or rather, the people who don't cook do the dishes. That's the rules. So please tell me some rules from your house. Okay. うちの猫は、okay. Sorry about that, Spay. We missed your cue time. うちの猫はまるでライオンのように食べる。Oh, nice. My cat eats like a lion. Good sentence. Perfect. ワイルド says Yuki. もうすぐ洗濯機壊れそう. Yeah, that's true. I'm still studying Genki 1 with your videos, and now I see I will have the opportunity to study Quartet 2. Congratulations for your channel. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much, Dr. Guerrero. Maybe? Guerrero. I appreciate that. I don't know if you're still here. That was a while, not that long ago. But anyway, good luck on Genki 1 and 2, and hopefully we'll see you one day over here on Quartet. Thanks for stopping by. What type of music do you play, Andy-san? That sentence was real? Ah, yes. Mostly rock. We make our own stuff. We write our own music. We haven't done a live show in a couple years because I left Japan once. So we haven't done a live show since before I left, actually, a couple years ago. Sadly. But we've been practicing for the past couple months since, the virus sort of calmed down a little bit around here in Nagano. And hopefully we'll play a live show in a couple months, hopefully. And when we do, I plan to live stream it. I'm going to live stream it here on this channel. I plan on it. So you'll get to see some of our new stuff. Maybe this is weird. Could this be used to say that fate decided something? Yes, it could be. Like in the refrigerator one, in a way, nobody made the decision, but as fate would have it, it was decided to buy it. Yes, Jahida. It can be used to sort of, and I meant to say that. I meant to say it sort of can be, you know what? It's not that I meant to say it. In the bonus sentences video, I did say that with one of these extra sentences there, that it can be, yes, sort of like fate decided it. Where can I purchase the Quartet book? I'll find a link for you. You can pull one off of the Quartet video. Dan, thank you so much for looking for that. You don't need a affiliate link though. I mean, you can just go to Amazon, I believe, is probably your best bet, is what I'd say. Let me pull up this video. I think I have a link here. Here's Quartet USA link right here. If you want to use an affiliate link, I don't know if you do. If you don't, that's fine. Here's the Quartet JP, Japan link. I recommend the Quartet Japan link because Japan Amazon is usually much, much cheaper than any other country's Amazon. There's a few other websites that sell it, but I'm not positive of any other websites that sell it. Excuse me. Oh, I'll find a link for you. Yes. There's links. Anyway, I was looking for an affiliate link. Yes. Just saying hi. Hope you're both well. One on it. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Doing okay. Thank you. Cue time. オンライン授業のあるものは米を炊いたり皿を洗ったりすることになっている。Okay. Nice. オンライン授業のあるものは So people who have online classes then probably make the rice and wash the dishes. That's the rule in Michael's house. Nice. Is that because you're at home? Because you don't have to go out? Dang, I was looking for like 15 vids and couldn't find your link. Yeah, no, it was on the intermediate. It was on the review I did of all the textbooks. No worries. It's kind of hard to find that video. Looks like the poll is resoundingly in favor of doing both. So both dialogues like normal and journals or maybe stories like this one. So we'll stick with maybe both. We'll sort of rotate them. One week maybe we'll do dialogue and 1 week we'll do this. Or maybe I'll mix them. One section will be a dialogue if it fits better. One section will be a story if it fits better. Continuing. We'll see. I'll play around with it and see what you guys think. But yeah, this story will be up on ToKiniAndy.com for those of you who are members there. 436 of you. Thank you so much for joining over there. Really appreciate that. Helps keep us going. And yeah, that'll be up hopefully tomorrow afternoon my time. Anyway. Do you have a streaming schedule? Yes, every Sunday at 9 p.m. Japan time. So 1.5 hours earlier, like ago, 1.5 hours ago is when we start every single Sunday. This week was the lesson. So next week will be a practice stream based on this lesson. And then the following week will be the next lesson. Then the practice stream, then the next lesson, then the practice stream until we finish both quartet books. だけどまだ残っているオンライン授業のあるものが僕しかないからまあ読めばわかると思うね。わかりますよ。あなたが全部やってるってことですよね。大変だ。大変だな。All right, let's end that poll. Thank you for voting, everyone, on that. Appreciate that. Thanks for hitting the like button as well. I appreciate that. We'll give you a few more minutes to finish off this question time. I'll bring it back up on screen in a minute, but I just want to say, thumbs up を攻撃してください. Please smash the thumbs up like button and チャンネル登録お願いします. Please subscribe and hit the bell that pops up and click for everything. So that you know when these streams go live and when new videos come out. There's going to be a bunch of new videos within a week, probably 2 weeks. I'm going to slowly release all of the Satori Reader interview. I'm cutting it into 4 different videos that cover specific topics, and then I'm going to release the entire interview separately from that for those of you who are interested. So that's coming out in about 2 weeks. Yeah, thanks for being here, guys. I hope you learned something. And I had a good time. So thank you so much. And yeah, we'll see you next time. But I'm going to stick around for a little bit longer, so don't worry. We've still got time to do your question times. All right. So, 最もお金持ちは、最も金持ちは食べ物を注文することになっている。あ、最もお金持ちは食べ物を注文することになっている。The richest person orders the food. Nice. That works. First Sunday I'm not working in a while, Bada Blakey. How is everyone going? Doing well. For the most part. It's good to be here. Thanks for being here tonight. What's everyone drinking tonight? Soba tea. Before that was chai tea. Protein shake, said Knights 1980. Nice. Didn't go to the gym today, so no protein for me. So much work goes into the content on www.tokiniandy.com. Check it out. Thank you. I'm looking forward to the Satori interviews. Yes, it was really good interview. I had such a difficult time cutting it, like figuring out what to cut. So I got permission from Brian at Satori Reader to just release the whole thing. But I also want to release, like it's long. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. So I also want to break it up into some clips that are a little bit more specific and useful for people who aren't interested in watching the whole thing. They can get something out of it as well. So I'm going to break it up into like Japanese learning tips, how they make stories at Satori Reader, more about him, the creator of Satori Reader in general. That's a third video. And then The fourth video was, what was the fourth video? The new review system on Satori Reader. So they fixed that. He made it better, way better. So that's the fourth video. Q time. 私が小学生の時は玄関掃除とお風呂掃除をすることになっていたよ. Oh, nice. So Yuki, when she was a kid, when she was a 小学生, when she was an elementary school student, the rule in her house was that she cleaned the entryway and the bath. Nice. Andy, congrats on the news of you starting full-time soon. Thank you so much. Yes. It's not going to be soon, unfortunately. I'm going to finish out my contract. I can't talk about it too much just in case some people are watching this, but I have to at least finish out my contract, which will end in March. I shouldn't talk about that though. Not live online, but anyway. After that, hopefully, full time. Hopefully. I can now. It's an option. So I'm hoping I can because it's a bit too much right now. So yeah, hopefully everything continues to go well, and if it's still going well in March, we'll be good. コーヒーを飲んでいる。いいね。俺もコーヒー飲みたいけど、10時40分です。Dan, is that rose wine or rosé? Rose wine or rosé. Rosé. My bad. Yeah, rosé. My bad, says Ryan. No worries. It's okay. I mean, I've already talked about it on social media, I think. So I probably shouldn't have, though. I realized after the fact. But anyway, I don't think most people can read English that shouldn't hear that. But we'll see. I could get in trouble for that. コーヒー飲みたいけど, not your fault. It's my fault that I brought it up at all on Twitter. Not your fault. コーヒー飲みたいけど、すぐ寝ないと困るから、遠慮する. Me too. I would love. Do you offer private Zoom lessons? I wish I could, but I do not have time for that at all. We've considered it in the past, back when my channel was much smaller, but I can barely keep up with everything we do now because we release on the website. We used to release 3 videos every 2 weeks. Now we release 1 video every week and the vocabulary video once a month. So that's 5 videos a month on the website and Patreon. And then we do this stream every week, which is a new lesson every other week, and then the practice stream in between. So we have to create all that. And then, so Patreon, people didn't comment much. People didn't interact much, but on the new website, it's much easier to interact. So I think we're up to over 500 comments in the first month. So we have to take care of all those. A lot of those comments are people completing challenges. So like recording challenges, voice recording challenges. So we actually have to check those. We check all of those. We check all the reading or all of the assignments and stuff. So just very busy. So no, I don't have time to do private Zoom lessons, unfortunately. I'm sorry. You can find tons of people though on iTalki that are really great. There's a couple people in the Discord who have been using iTalki lessons, and they have teachers that they do recommend. So if you're wondering who some good teachers might be to try out on iTalki or something, definitely ask in the Discord. I believe there's a link in the description of this video. Yes, the challenge section is we corrected 7 challenges today, I think. 7? Yeah, good. 今日は7かな。3人で7 challenges ね。It was good though. Challenges, there was only about 2 people that did challenges on the Patreon, despite there being 700 people. And now that there's 400 people on the website, a lot of people do them, so. Which is awesome. I think it's great, and they're fun. It's fun to listen to them and to see people working hard on that stuff. But just takes a lot of time. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. I think we're going to call it there. And we will hopefully see you on the next one. How can we gift you outside of Patreon? Thank you so much for even considering that. There's the website, ToKiniAndy.com, although that is a monthly thing. So if you're thinking of like one-time stuff, you can become a member on YouTube. You can click the little money sign down below the chat that there's donations on YouTube, or you can check out the Ko-Fi website. I believe there's a link to Ko-Fi in the description. Let's check. Edit. There is no Ko-Fi link in the description. There's a Ko-Fi link on the YouTube page if you're interested in that. So Ko-Fi is a website that accepts, it's just straight to PayPal. So that's one way that some people like to contribute. So thank you even for considering that. But yes, that's one way. I need to use the website more. Still need to schedule studying time in where I output. Thank you for such an awesome tool, Andy. No problem. Yeah, the new videos I think have been doing quite well. The bonus sentences. So basically every sentence in this lesson, you can repeat after Yuki reading it and shadow Yuki reading it. So there's two sections for that. So you repeat after her and then you shadow it. So you try and say it along with her as she's saying it, right? To get used to speaking Japanese. And then there's extra sentences that aren't in this lesson where we go into more detail. And you can also repeat after those and shadow those as well. So that's the new videos that we're releasing for both Quartet and Genki. We're up to lesson 3 in Genki. Lesson 4 is coming out next week. This lesson I'm going to release in the morning. So yeah, nice. Ko-Fi. Thank you so much, Dan. Appreciate that. I'm a bit rusty on nominalizers with no. Was that on Genki 1? I believe it was on Genki 1, yes. I think so. I can't remember the exact lesson, but I'm pretty sure it was Genki 1. They didn't go into too much detail on it, though. They just covered it. Noga ski. But it gave you the sort of foundation of it. I think I might have went into a little more detail than just noga ski in my lesson. I can't remember what lesson that was off the top of my head, though. I'm sorry. Yo, Yuki's gonna check for you. There's like a... でもちょっと取ってくれる? There's a grammar list. のが好きです. Lesson 8. Lesson 8, section 6.
のこととのが好きは一緒? No.
そうだと思う. Lesson 8. Thank you so much. We can just put that here. I still haven't had a chance to properly visit the website, unfortunately. Could you please tell me more about the challenges? Are they for Quartet lessons too? There are no challenges for the Quartet lessons yet. I'm working on some other stuff that may be used as challenges for Quartet, but they're more sort of research challenges. The current challenges for Genki 1 and 2 are recording yourself doing... There's a couple sections in each Genki textbook practice that aren't really video appropriate, so you can't really we couldn't make them into a video. So with the textbook practice videos, basically we do the textbook practice in the Genki books with you. So like we'll ask a question if it's a question and answer thing, and you'll respond. We give you time to respond, and then we show you what the correct response would have been. So you just do the textbook practice with us. But some of the textbook practice was not possible for that. So what we did is we would choose a few of those and create a challenge using them. So basically what you do is you'd record yourself completing that exercise. So maybe making a skit or something like that, or giving a speech. So you record yourself, upload that to SoundCloud, and then Yuki and I check it, and we correct your answers, and we check your pronunciation depending on how picky you want us to be, and stuff like that. So that's what the challenges are. Yeah, it depends on how picky you want us to be. But yeah, we'll fix all grammar mistakes, any word mistakes, give you better words that you could use in certain situations, stuff like that. So very much, lots of interaction. It's fun. All right, guys. So that is going to be it for tonight. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you next week for the practice. If not, see you on the next lesson. We're up to lesson 3 now. That's exciting. It's the halfway point in Quartet. And I still haven't released the writing course. I gotta get that done. I gotta get that released as well. I know a bunch of people are asking about that. Gotta get that done, hopefully in a week or two. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. We will see you next time. Thanks so much, Dan, for your excellent modding as usual. And thank you, everyone, for being here. I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
日本語を喋れるようになりたいのか?
Hold up. We already did this. We already talked about how you can use our Genki 1 and 2 and now Quartet course to improve your Japanese.
じゃあ
これは何のため? We're moving. また引っ越す? No, we're transitioning from Patreon to ToKiniAndy.com. なんで? Look.
なるほど。新しいやつの方が綺麗だね。
Exactly. It's easier to access, it looks better, it's easier to add new content to old lessons. I'm super excited for it.
私も出てるよ。これからよろしくお願いします。
Come join us on ToKiniAndy.com today and kickstart your Japanese learning experience. You'll have bonus grammar sentence videos, textbook practice videos, listening and shadowing videos, vocabulary videos, tests, and you'll be able to track your progress through fully structured lesson plans. Hope to see you there.
よろしくね。